Aloha, and thank you for joining us. So everyone, go ahead and take a breath. You can, for new folks, take a breath in. You can stop right at the top, space between the breath, or you can breathe out, drop in at the bottom. Or if you've done it for a while, for me, I don't use the breath. It's not really a breath process. It's a cultivating how to focus your attention into neutral. If you're starting, take a breath, stop, kind of feels like holding the breath. Yet relax, let the breath keep going, yet you stay in the space between the breath. This is the key reference. I can't say enough. If you practice cultivating this, in fact, try, everyone try. Try while you're resting here. Try to hold a thought or an emotion. Not easy. Try to find an area of tension or pain in the body. You can't do it. It's like magnet. With the magnet polarized, things cling. You flip neutral, everything drops off. Same thing here. If your brain drops in neutral, everything drops. Cell memory, emotions, beliefs, judgments, all these karmas, all these things we call in our seminars, all these things drop aside. And to me, more importantly, to dissolving karma, though dissolving karma is important, dissolving things are important. We have to, in other words, if you have a computer, you understand how to delete things. You open things, and then you delete them. You don't leave things open, websites, files, folders, emails. Otherwise, the thing would stop working. You have to understand how to open and then close, collapse it, delete it. Well, same thing here with injuries, emotions, beliefs, judgments, all those things. We have to clear them, delete them every day. How do we do that? Very easy. You drop in here, Stillpoint. You hold this place, Stillpoint. And for me, more importantly, more exciting than Stillpoint is what this induces. The more we cultivate being here in this space between the breath, aloha to everybody out there, our global network of people around the planet who are using Stillpoint and using our products. Aloha, it's nice to be here and to see everybody. So the more we cultivate this state, not only is it really effective for deleting, dissolving karma, in fact, this is standard operating technology for all shamans, yogis, healers, medicine people, the world over, meditators the world over. You have to understand how to clear and delete karma. If you don't understand this, then you can't progress in the opening and expression of the universe and beyond. Second key, from my perspective, reference to resting here in Stillpoint is as we rest here in neutrality. Try this for a moment. As you everyone take a nice breath in again. Stop here. And check in. How does it feel? While you're resting here, it feels really nice. For me, it feels nice. It feels like bliss. It feels like coming home. It feels like there's a reason it feels good. There's a reason that this experience feels good. Yogis have found, they've found that when yogis rest here, their cells are filling up with nitric oxide. So I always tell people the key to Stillpoint is one, neutral, you don't hold things, and two, the more you rest here in Stillpoint, they found your cells increase in one key thing, cellular nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is all around us, like air. And the benefit of nitric oxide is nitric oxide, like air, has key effects that it has on certain things, processes in the body. In the same way, nitric oxide has key benefits on certain processes in the body. Mainly, they found that first and foremost was why it won the Nobel Prize, people researching nitric oxide vasodilates the entire system really fast, which makes it really good for your heart, your circulation, and your blood. Second thing nitric oxide does is it has been found to be a carrier for all sorts of neurotransmitters. So your brain produces all these key, like a tree that's flowering out different things. Well, when people are stressed, tense, no nitric oxide, no flowering. When you relax, drop into Stillpoint, rest here, increase nitric oxide, well, what does that induce? Opiates, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, PEA, DMT, oxytocin, harmalines, and a whole vast array of lots of other key neurotransmitters and sacred compounds that induce people into being relaxed, at ease, and into higher states of consciousness, samadhi, nirvana, bliss, etc. So again, so far Stillpoint, very, very key in terms of deleting, dissolving karma, and also in inducing, opening up a ripe field and experience for the cultivation and expression of consciousness. And they found that nitric oxide also helps induce stem cell production. So it's good for pain relief, relaxation, circulation, induces stem cells and white blood cells, longevity. And to me, kind of most exciting is that it is very similar to nitrous oxide, which is the same stuff. Which is the same stuff they use in the dental chair, that laughing gas. Nitrous oxide, nitric oxide, kind of similar. Well, nitric oxide has a similar effect. It puts you in bliss. I always say there's a reason yogis are in bliss. It's not an emotion. Bliss is a physiological response to elevated nitric oxide in an individual's experience. So to recap, to me, this is key. You'll notice in my life, very often I'll be doing something, situation, and Stillpoint, the more you cultivate your brain waves, this is like computer. If you use it for thinking, it's like a tuner. You get thinking. Emotions, you get emotions. Concerned body stuff, you get body stuff. Physical, emotional, psychic. You tune it to neutrality, which is what Stillpoint is. Whether you call it prana or chi or universal energy, spirit, scalar, whatever you want to call it, you tune this thing neutrality, guess what? Those other things dissolve, the physical, emotional, psychic karmas dissolve, and we start to fill in with the neutral energy essence of the universe, which is like water on the garden. Water goes on the garden, what does it do? Light, it opens, it flowers. Neutral essence comes into the experience, guess what it does? It dissolves and then opens up the flow of energy, opens up the field first, and this is roughly how the Stillpoint process goes. We're not going to get too into this now. Opens up the field first, then opens up the energy along the spine, the scalar, sacred scalar energy along the spine, the staff of life, medical symbol. That opens up the glands in the cranium, the DMT, the sacred nectar, the amrita, ambrosia. We call it the ambrosia process, fountain of youth, elixir of life, whatever you want to call it. Carl Jung called it secret of the golden flower. Opens up this sacred ambrosia, nectar, bliss, compounds. Very specific process, the Stillpoint process. So we cover basic intro into Stillpoint. Now, for folks that are new here today, it's nice to have you here. If you understand the key reference of Stillpoint, which to me is an operating system, many people are using operating system from the previous age. And that operating system has a lot of thinking going on, oxygen, all this stuff that's very linear. To me, Stillpoint is nonlinear operating system. If you understand this reference of Stillpoint, and which is key to understanding the process, our products, our unique family of scalar products, and the work that we do, then you will understand the rest of the program. Before I get into that, everyone, I want to show one more thing. Everyone take a nice big breath in, take a breath in, and just stop right here. And now hold this space. This is a little more advanced. If you hold this space right here, if you hold this space, it's kind of like filling up a tire with air. If you fill a tire with air, you put the nozzle up to the tire. If it goes one way, air goes out. Other way, air. If you hold it right in the middle with care, the tire starts to fill in. Well, in my life, I hold Stillpoint with care. I just hold it here. See if you notice, as I hold it here, I can feel the field start to fill in with subtle scalar energy. Universal energy. See if you notice this. This is key. If you get this one key piece, I tell you, Stillpoint on the first, you drop in, you hold. The second key step to the process is you open up, we call it opening up the quantum field, or fluffing up the field. For me, right there, something shifted. I do this a lot, so it happens. Right there, it shifted. I kind of took a little breath, a little sigh. Now my field literally opened. They've proven, they've done studies in numerous different traditions, scientific studies using a diagnostic equipment. The average person has a field 5-10 feet surrounds the body. Well, for me right now, the field opened. I'm not holding Stillpoint anymore. I'm not holding the nozzle. When the tire fills in, it stops. Why? It's filled to capacity. For me right now, the field is now filled into capacity. I'm now holding. The field is holding me now. is the first key step in the Stillpoint process. We cover these in our ongoing trainings and seminars and our retreats. Very simple process. You can do this. Anyone can do this. We have people all around the planet that do this. I tell you, if you have health challenges, whatever's going on in your life, if you fill in your field of energy, there is more energy available to work on strengthening your blood, strengthening your lymph, strengthening the energy along the spine, strengthening the brain, strengthening all the key cells, systems, ATP throughout the system to help rebuild and regenerate and get your system and body and processes back online. All right, great. That's a little basic overview of the Stillpoint process. The second step in the process, the second key thing, after you open up the field, second thing, squeeze the root at the base of the spine. Go ahead and squeeze the root at the base of the spine. Squeeze in a little bit, and then relax out a little bit. This is the next step. We call this the activation. Opening quantum field, then next step, activation. Squeeze the root in. Same muscles used to go to the restroom, and then relax out. And then squeeze in, and then relax out. Now squeeze in a little bit. This is the perineal area. Many traditions talk about squeezing this, the Kegel muscles. They got different names for it. Squeeze in, and now hold it right in the space in between the in and the out. Yogis say, Taoists say it's like holding an egg. Not too tight or you crush, not too loose or you drop. I hold this right here, and as I hold this right here, to me, energy starts flowing up the spine, up the staff of life, up the spine. Like for me, it's like tapping into a well. You tap in, the energy starts flowing up the spine. Every day for me, I drop in Stillpoint. I open up the field. I squeeze the root, open up the flow of energy along the spine. Try this. As you hold this, just hold very gently. The key is to relax this area, the whole sacral, the whole root area. Squeeze it in, out, and then hold it a little bit. Squeeze in. Most people have no conscious stewardship of this area, of this that we call sacred muscle. Now as I hold this here, energy flowing up the spine, for me I feel a whole nourishing bath of energy up along the spine, purifying the chakras, the nadis. And that leads us to the next step, the ambrosia in the Stillpoint process. Energy opening up, tongue at the roof of the mouth. As this energy, this very subtle energy, it's like refining. We're taking physical coarse energy, we're opening up and refining it. It's like gold. You know, they take the dirt, right? They take the dirt and they shake it, shake it, shake it. Well, then the dirt falls away by the side, the water comes in, and then bit by bit, by the end, then they take the things and they put it in. Each step refines the matter from the gross, subtler, till the very end, the very, very end. They get it into the thing, they move that thing in a little vortex, and it turns into the gold, and then they heat it up, and boom, they got gold. Well, we're doing the same thing. We're starting off with the injuries, the emotions, the situations. Well, what do? We drop it in Stillpoint. You hold Stillpoint, those different physical, emotional, psychic things start to dissolve. The more you dissolve those things and hold Stillpoint, the field fills in. We've refined the energy from the coarse, gross body, physical, into the subtle body. Yogis call this the subtle body. Now we're taking this subtle, we're squeezing the root, in, out, very gentle, and holding, in, out, holding. Now this energy is now refined into this energy moving up along the spine, the sacred scalar energy. And this is not some new thing. Every tradition on planet Earth, including the Western medical symbol, understands this very same flow of energy along the spine. Now energy comes up here, tongue at the roof. Now the energy is getting ultra refined. Now the physical, the subtle, all of these are collapsing, and what's opening is a subtle opening of sacred nectar, what they call Amrita in India, which opens up the energy and moves energy, dissolves energy back into the subtle bliss and consciousness. Every day we have the opportunity to look at the challenges we have in our life as opportunities to dissolve and free up some energy, The more energy gets freed up, guess what? Now we have a nice full field of energy that can help the body. Then we rarefy that, subtle up the spine. Then we rarefy that and return it back into the essence of the universe. To me, we are more like flowers and people. The more we cultivate this and open up our real and true condition, we can do the work of what we're here to share here on planet Earth. Whether it's joy, peace, love, happiness, whatever that quality is that we've come here to share, that's the important thing that we do every day. Not the outer things. The outer things are important. We have to do them. I work my way through them. I get bumped around all day long in outer things. Then I make it here, and I fluff those things down, I dissolve those things out, and I cultivate and arrive back into this condition. Okay, now that we understand the basics of that process, that is a simple overview of the process. Now I want to share a little bit about the different products and technologies that we've developed. So I cannot say this enough. If you understand the essence of the work of Stillpoint, which is really another way to use your perception, really all we're talking about is taking the computer of your brain and saying, okay, what programs are you going to run? Are you going to run the repeat programs of you from the past? Which is great. If you want to do that, great. That's the personality. That's a lot of that going on here. Or do we want to run a different program? That's basically saying, well, we're going to dissolve the past, and we're going to start to open up the flow of the future, who we truly are. If you understand that program, well, then we get into sharing different products and technologies that help. This is what the Stillpoint program is designed for. The Stillpoint technologies, the Stillpoint family of products are designed to help support this work of dissolving karma and opening up the flow and the expression of what's real and true. From a yogic perspective, to give a background reference, my background, I left college and went to India and spent many years doing yogic practice. Not the yoga of movements and postures, the yoga of cultivation of energy from the outer sense objects and things to the inward flow along the spine. I tell people again and again, the biggest thing that yogis say is that most people, energy comes down the spine and then comes out through the chakras, through the senses, and gets tangled up in all the things of this world. It's like a big fair here, a big carnival. Everyone comes and their attention gets distracted in all these things that are going on, which is easy to have happen. It's a very attractive place here. It's a nice place. It's a beautiful place. And if our energy comes down the spine like a vase that has holes in it and it's going all over the place and bleeding out all over the place, well, guess what? Then we don't have any energy because it's busy being distracted through the chakras with friends and relationships and groups and this and wanting this and all these different sensory objects. Well, the yogic process that I learned in and trained in is about saying to those things, well, hold on here, and cultivating what they call a reversal of the sensory currents. So instead of the energy coming down and going out through the senses and chakras, we're saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's cultivate that energy so it comes down and then flows back up along the spine and then up so we can cultivate this sacred energy from the universe of our expression. This is the work of Stillpoint. I tell you, every day is a garden. Every day, either you got the weeds and things coming in and gobbling everything up, or you're cultivating and opening up the flowering. And that's what both the process, the Stillpoint process, all of these online trainings, resources, websites, our Stillpoint seminars and retreats, and also products are designed to help support the flowering, the cultivation, the growing, and the flowering of this subtle experience. Well, how do you do that? Well, yogis say most people are way too horizontal. It's what they call the sympathy. The sympathetic part of the nervous system, in sympathy to everything else. Well, the yogic thing is to go parasympathy, beyond. We want to go vertical. How do we do that? Well, the first way is to drop in Stillpoint. You hold Stillpoint, well, what do? You immediately say dissolve any cords connecting you to other people, any things going on, any blockages or holes. Yogis say most people have so many holes and blockages and cords in their field. In other words, the bigger issue is what's going on in the field. If there's no space in the field, well then guess what? Nothing in the body can process. That's the biggest challenge people have going on. It's like computer. You have computer, not a lot of memory, a lot of programs. There's no overhead room to process. Well, this works the same way. If you upgrade the memory on the computer, well then things can process. Well, if someone's field is totally compressed and shut down, then whatever issues, cell memory, injuries, emotions, belief, judgments, there's no room to thread through, to clear and dissolve and delete and thread through. So the most important work with most people I work with initially is to cultivate an opening, which is what Stillpoint is designed to do. Opening of the field, more memory, more space. Now, injuries, emotions, cell memory, blood, lymph, organs, congestion can start to thread through, can start to have more neutral energy to start to flow. Activate the blood, the lymph, kick things back in, ATP, white matter, white blood cells, stem cells. All of these things are powered by the neutral energy essence, not to mention the energy along the spine and ultimately the subtle compounds of the glands, which to me is the key.